Hello everyone, I'm Krasi Attasio and I will talk about important, positive, beautiful event, celestial event which will take place on 23rd of November. Now what is happening is that Venus enters the sign of Sidereal Sagittarius, and there Venus will meet Jupiter. Now here you hear my perspective on this event, because maybe from everywhere you will probably hear how wonderful and how long it will take, the influence of this event. But I will explain you exactly what the event means. I will give you the perspective for the 12 ascendants, so how this will influence the 12 ascendants. And of course, I will speak from astronomical, sidereal, Babylonian perspective. Now, what is happening indeed is very nice. Venus is entering the sign of Sagittarius, and Venus is beautiful in Sagittarius, not because she has any particular dignities there, but actually, in a way, she does have dignities, because according to the Babylonian astrology, Venus has some powers in the sign of Leo, because she's having also rulership there. So Venus in Leo is very, very powerful. And when she's in the sign of Sagittarius, actually she's trining her own sign, and there is no way Venus to be bad in the sign of Sagittarius. So also, when Venus enters the sign of Sagittarius, we know, of course, that she will be meeting there Jupiter, Ketu, Saturn, and Pluto, which at this very moment, all of them are in the sign of Sagittarius, sidereal coordinates. Now, on the 23rd, Venus enters the sign of Sagittarius, and in the very same time, Jupiter is preparing to disappear from the sky. So after 7 days, Jupiter is disappearing. And this is the key point here, because indeed Venus is entering there. They will be forming their beautiful aspect, beautiful conjunction, which is called by the ancients like true blessing. They even say that this conjunction means, if you see it in a natal chart, if this conjunction is happening on somebody's ascendant, that this is truly blessing from gods, and that the native will have such beautiful personality that the gods will hear the native's prayers. And this is true. This is really true. But the point is that the very key element here is that Jupiter is disappearing from the sky. I made very detailed video about the disappearance of Jupiter. If you like, look at this video. It's just one of my recent videos. So Jupiter will not be visible for us in whole December, and also not in January. He will appear actually end of January, and this will be his beautiful heliacal appearance, which I will be using for the creation of Jupiterian talismans, the most powerful timing that we've been waiting for, like 12 years. Jupiter, not only to enter his own sign, but to become visible, like to appear, to be young, and to have all the potentials and beauties to appear heliacally visible in his own sign. So you may see the link under my videos, which are explaining about my astro magic and the powerful talismans which I create. So what is happening? Unfortunately, Jupiter is not appearing. He is disappearing together with in this conjunction with Venus. So Venus very recently became visible, and this is wonderful. But in the very same moment, Jupiter is now disappearing, and this is not a blessing. This is lack of blessing. So whatever you hear all over internet, that how beautiful this is, it is beautiful, but it is also complex. It is not this pure beauty and blessing that we may have if both planets were visible, if they were giving the blessing in the natural way that we know, like two visible planets simply aspect the ascendant of someone, and these two visible planets are Jupiter and Venus. Wonderful blessing and beauty and good luck and everything, and this person will have wonderful character and will have a wonderful luck, and all will be wonderful, except that Jupiter is becoming invisible in the moment when Venus is entering his sign, the sign of Sagittarius. So what is happening actually? Jupiter enters the sign of, Venus enters the sign of Sagittarius. And Jupiter at that point is in his phase already of disappearance. The phase is called morning last. It means that 7 days after that, we will not see him for the period of 2 months approximately. Then we will be losing his beautiful blessing. I explained you how this will manifest for us, what we will feel, and I explained you how this will affect the 12 ascendants. You may like to look at my other video. So he, on the 23rd of November, he is already preparing to disappear. He is already very actively disappearing. His disappearing is simply what? He hides in the rays of the sun. The sun is burning him. And from our perspective, he is not going to be visible. He is there, but he is not visible. From our perspective, maybe if we go on Mars, we will be able to see him. I don't know, but from our perspective, he is not going to be visible, which doesn't mean that he's not there. It just means that the Creator decided at this moment Jupiter to give us different influences, and when together with Venus, this conjunction with the invisible Jupiter is having totally different meaning. So 23rd of November, Jupiter is invisible and is becoming invisible and will be invisible after 7 days. So on the 30th of November, we will not see him anymore. Then at this moment, it's like this funny spiritual sky, celestial mathematics, like the spirit world is somehow playing with us, because all looks like very interesting mathematics. In the same day, 4 days before his disappearance, they make exact conjunction. And not only that, but 4 days before, Mercury became visible, and in conjunction with Mars, they create sextile. So this is not brilliant. It's complex. It's difficult even to analyze. We will see how, when I will be looking at the 12 ascendants, how this will influence us. Of course, I will give attention also to this detail. But just to tell you, so on the 25th of November, Jupiter and Venus are in exact conjunction in the 4th degree of Sagittarius. What is the 4th degree of Sagittarius? It is the Milky Way. This is the most beautiful, brilliant, spiritual. I don't have enough superlatives to say what a place this is. It's the most brilliant white skyway, a highway on the sky, which is visible from our perspective. We can see the highway because it's formed, the Milky Way, the highway, because it is formed by millions, billions of stars, and they all shine and they all can be seen. But what is the significance of the Milky Way? The significance of the Milky Way, especially in the 4th, 5th degrees of Sagittarius, is about high, lofty, beautiful spiritual consciousness, because we know that the Milky Way, we suppose that the Milky Way is occupied by such spiritual divinities, angels, saints, I don't know, but it is known that the Milky Way is a place of spirituality, of brilliance, of consciousness. So this is what is happening. Venus enters the Milky Way, Jupiter disappears some way over the Milky Way, somewhere in the Milky Way. He disappears there, which means that this place is somehow emphasized for us on a very mundane level. The Milky Way is important, emphasized for us on a very mundane level. So the Milky Way is where Jupiter is going to disappear, and it is like this place is emphasized by him. And what is Jupiter? Blessing, brilliance, abundance, spiritual values, lofty ideals, all those kinds of things which are all very beautiful. Justice, philosophical knowledge, it is children. It is all about it. All this is signified by Jupiter. Luckily, when he disappears there, Venus comes there. In this way, in the Milky Way, we will have beautiful Venus, evening star, which is joining Jupiter also in the Milky Way. So definitely our consciousness, knowledge, philosophical values, all this is being emphasized by the two, Jupiter and Venus. But as I told you, this conjunction is not working in the way that we could imagine, because Jupiter is not going, it's like he's hiding somewhere in the Milky Way. He's hiding there in order to give depth, to give depth in our consciousness, philosophical knowledges, studies, ideas, all this. He's becoming very intrinsic, very much under the surface, very much not visible. He will be different. But look at my other video. There I'm talking only about Jupiter. So Venus, Aphrodite, evening star. She's Inanna from Uruk, and she's about love. She's about romance. And she, in the Milky Way, I'm not sure how romantic she will be. I think her nature will be shifted towards spirituality. And this romance is not going to be that sort of romance that we can expect. It will be very spiritual. So Jupiter delicately disappears for Venus to be there with him, also in a Jupiterian term, in a term, hermetic term, which is ruled by Jupiter. Very Jupiterian, very Milky Way-like, very philosophical, and very much about losing the evident literal support and of Jupiter, because now he will be invisible. He is working now on a very intrinsic level. He will not be generous with when it comes to children. He will not be generous when it comes to abundance. His energies are shifted. In some horoscopes, these energies may also be a little bit, they may not work in a very clean and clear and positive way. They can be a bit twisted. Depends how Jupiter operates in the personal charts of each one of us. If the people with badly placed Jupiter in their natal charts can even go cross boundaries when it comes to pleasure, when it comes to using power, if you want. So it is really up to the people's charts, but in any case, for sure, this literal presence of Jupiter we will not be able to experience. But Venus comes on his place and her nature is now different. So what is happening is that, like, only for 4 days, up until 30th of November, we will be able to experience the full blessing of Jupiter-Venus conjunction. So from the 23rd of November until the 30th of November, we will be really blessed, especially people with Sagittarius visible, or people who are very Jupiterian, like, because of the sign of Sagittarius. So people who are having Sagittarius ascendant, Sagittarius midheaven, Sagittarius moon, sun, will feel that, or Gemini ascendant as well. So this is just my overview on how I expect this to work. In terms of markets, not so good, because Jupiter is disappearing. It will not be very supportive for the economies and for the markets. In terms of speech, well, here is the interesting part. At the moment of their conjunction, the moon is in the sign of Libra, conjoined with Mercury and with Mars. And this is very tricky conjunction. We're having Mars detriment in the sign of Libra. We're having the moon interestingly placed at that very moment in the star of Gamma, which is about royal power. It is about visibility, talents, design. And we have Mercury, who just became visible like 4 days ago. Mercury became visible from the rays of the sun, and they three are aspecting by a harmonious aspect Jupiter and Venus and Saturn and Pluto. This is very interesting. This can result for some in some issues related to speech, for example. Like they could be very, they could desire to present, to work, to show what they know, to do presentation, to do beautiful design work. They could have these desires to do a lot, but on the other hand, the martial aspect, which is detriment and not really very well placed, can cause some issues like really some kind of misunderstandings, for example, or disturbances of the process of creating some beautiful things or presenting them. And so this particular moon in the powerful star of Gemma with Mars, with the visible Mercury, is something very interesting. However, let's not forget, all goes towards disappearance, because also the moon is in a last visibility phase. This would say that on the 26th of November, the moon is going to be already invisible. So all this is very interesting, but remains intrinsic, like remains very introvert, more in the process, more related to processes that will be delicate art, or something that is very much because of Aphrodite, which is Venus, the evening star. It is a delicate art, beautiful art, but be of creating something amazing, coming up with amazing philosophical knowledge, delicate, hidden, unknown, coming from the hidden places, our akashis, somewhere in the universe. But remember, Mars is there, and he may be there to create disturbances, to create accusations, to create mistakes, or somebody you could come up with some wonderful project. But remember, this is the last lunar crescent, so it's not very appropriate to start your new project. Better keep it on your intrinsic level of preparation, like keep it for yourself. Don't review it yet, because the moon is about to disappear. So whatever you review now may not bring the results that you want. So I will say again the sentence which I may be repeating. This week is not good for new beginnings. This week is good for making your hidden preparation for something beautiful, for a new project, for work of art, for work of design, for project that will be about beauty, for project that will be about media, communication, commerce. All this can be very, very good. And let's go back to Venus and Jupiter conjunction. From 23rd until 30th, they will be together, Jupiter and Venus. And there is nothing that beautiful, there is nothing of such beautiful and wonderful thing in the universe, like the two divinities that bring the most gorgeous blessing to be together. But as I said, for a week only, because then Jupiter has another work to deeply to go into, because when planet becomes invisible, usually it goes to the netherworld. It goes to the secretive places of the human soul, for example. So all becomes very, very introvert. So use these moments, like I am advising you, for creating something, but keep it for yourself, even though Mercury is visible in the sign of Libra. This is particularly this week, when Venus enters the sign of Sagittarius to meet Jupiter. Do beautiful activities, but review them later. Do work of creation, but review them later, like with the next week, when the first lunar crescent will be shown. And if you follow my monthly videos, I'm usually listing which day is good for what. So yes, this I think were the most important things. And let me tell you now how, just with 2-3 words to give you indication on how this will work ascendant per ascendant. All right, for Aries ascendant. Now for you, this conjunction of Jupiter and Venus, you will feel it very well because this conjunction is happening on your ninth house. On your ninth house, this is trine in your ascendant. What can be better than that? And on this very same moment, you're having Mars, the Moon, and Mercury on your seventh house. So this will pretty much influence your value system, your spirituality for good. This will influence very much your also relationship. So because Mercury and Mars are also together with on your seventh house, could be that you should be careful a little bit with your speech, how you communicate with your partner in general. With partnerships, I'm talking about the aspects between Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and this complex aspect on the sky, how actually this is influencing your ascendant. But Venus will stay for approximately 1 month on your ninth house, and this is beautiful. Jupiter will be invisible to bring you very deep and interesting spiritual knowledge, like you will work on a hidden private level with your spirituality and knowledge. With this, Jupiter may not be very supportive when it comes to your studies. Could be that you need some additional efforts to push with your studies. Could be that this is also not very supportive with your communication and relationships with people abroad, or work of communication, media work abroad. So this is where you may need to do some additional efforts. But in any case, until 30th of November, this will work powerfully in terms of gains and positive results for you. So this was about ascendant Aries. Now we're looking at ascendant Taurus and how the Jupiter-Venus conjunction will work for you. This is a conjunction is happening for you on your 8th house. With this, you may not experience this literally very much, like to influence your personality, but from other perspective, this could be felt by your partner, and or in terms of financial good results, or this can be very positive for you if you are expecting hidden, like unexpected financial source. This also can be positive. Or if you are expecting good results that may be coming from court case, this also could be positive, especially until the 30th of November. On the other hand, be a little bit cautious at work with subordinates. Don't share with them your plans. You can have some misunderstandings and possible hostilities at work with subordinates. So this is about Taurus and how this conjunction will influence you. Now we're looking at Gemini. Gemini ascendant. For you, this conjunction beautifully, like a true blessing, is happening on your 7th house. And you will experience this in particular until the 30th of November. It will be really very nice because it's a helping hand to release you a little bit from the Saturnian restrictions. Because remember, wherever Venus enters, and if Saturn is there, his heart is melting. He just loves Venus. Venus is entering with Jupiter to join Jupiter, and this is very good for your private romantic life, for possible good results related to agreements. On the other hand, there is also Mars, Mercury, which are aspecting from your 5th house. And this can be good for your studies, especially those that are very creative. But on the other hand, don't share your plans. If you study, use the Martian energies for good. But enter some like good discipline and organization when it comes to studies. This can also be a little bit too active and very interesting when you communicate with children. That is where you may also put some discipline. On the other hand, the week looks, this particular Jupiter-Venus conjunction is something very positive, which comes to bring you really relief and blessing. Okay, now we're looking at Cancer ascendant. For you, the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus is happening on your 6th house, which is good because this is going to bring some peace and release and solving problems in your routine environment, or when it comes to relationship with subordinates. Can be good for your health. If you had health issues, now could be that they are resolved for good. Really for good. Now, on the other hand, be a little bit cautious, be a bit alert and careful and diplomatic when communicating with people at home, with parents. There is the place where you may need to be patient and loving. But Jupiter is coming to help your routine environment in general, and this is something very positive. Okay, this is briefly for Ascendant Cancer. Now let's look Leo. Now for you, the Jupiter and Venus conjunction is happening on your 4th house, and this is wonderful. You will benefit from this financially, especially until the 30th of November, because after that, Jupiter becomes invisible, and then the energies will change slightly. This is also very good for your children and for their safety and for your communication with them. This is wonderful for your gains. This is wonderful for your creative studies. This is really something that is very good. On the very same moment, on your 3rd house, you're having Mars and Mercury, and they're forming aspect with Venus and Jupiter. And this would say that you may need really to be cautious, very patient. Don't share your plans which could be related to media work or commercial communication. It is good if you really be very diplomatic in the way you communicate with others, because of the Martian aspect, who is detriment on your 3rd house. This is a timing which may not be the most appropriate for you to travel as well. But however, the week will be good, better financially, and better when it comes to your communication and safety of children. Okay, now let's see Virgo Ascendant. Now for you, the beautiful conjunction between Jupiter and Venus is happening on your 4th house. And this is very good because this is giving blessing to your home, especially until the 30th of November. This is giving also support, like really base to your work and career. So in this sense, this can be good, can be like better time at work. Also, be a bit cautious when in the way you're making money. You may have this sudden desire and plans, but it's good to wait and like do the preparatory work now, but do not really undertake very heavy visible steps towards new beginnings or new plans. More do strategic work than really undertaking new beginnings this week. More concentrate on the routine, on home, on work, but the routine, and do not really come with new plans and strategies yet in public. You may do this, but should not, I think, be reviewed so much in public. And now we're looking at Libra Ascendant. For you, the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus is happening on your 3rd house, and in the very same moment, Mars and Mercury visible are on your ascendant, and they are aspecting this Jupiter-Venus conjunction and Saturn and Pluto. So what is happening is that this is quite nice and interesting and productive for your spiritual consciousness, for your spiritual work, for your studies. This could be wonderful and blessing, and because this is aspecting your ascendant, could be that also you have blessing and results financially good for your work. However, the week may not be very appropriate for you to travel and negotiate or communicate because of the Martian aspect, which can create some disturbances in the communication or misunderstandings. I would say work on your projects and plans, communication-wise or commerce-wise, more like creating strategies or preparation work. but do not review them yet. It's really so, because Mars is detriment on your ascendant, and the week is also this particular thing, this particular moment, especially until the 30th, you receive the blessing of Jupiter and Venus, but still the timing is not very appropriate also to travel. Up until Mars is on your ascendant for another 2 weeks. And now we're looking at Scorpio ascendant. For you, Scorpio ascendant, Jupiter and Venus are on your 2nd house. And they're blessing your family roots. Like if you have now, you can hear good things related to family members, or you can improve relationship or communication with them. This is also very good for your finances. It is really good. You can hear some good results related to your work and the way you're making your money. So financially, this is something very good, especially until the 30th of November. But on the very same moment, the sun is on your ascendant, and this will bring these good energies for work, and it's quite positive. But your ascendant ruler, together with Mercury and Jupiter, is on your 12th house. This would say the work is not the timing, especially until Mars enters your ascendant for another 2 weeks. So the timing is not very, very appropriate to review your plans. You may work on them, you may work on communication plans or any kinds of projects, but do not review them yet, because could be that you don't receive the results that you are expecting. So we're looking at Sagittarius ascendant. For you, actually, you're the winner this time, because Jupiter and Venus are making conjunction on your ascendant, and especially powerful this will be until 30th of November. This is a true blessing. After that, you know that Jupiter becomes invisible, which is not that he will be gone, but we will not feel the exactly the energies of Jupiter. It will be a bit modified. You know that from my other video. So Jupiter and Venus together will be wonderful for your good health, for your luck in general. It's just something very good. On your 11th house, you have also something very interesting, Mars and Mercury together, conjoining. And this can create environment very active, related to your social circle, related to your gains. Financially, this week is okay, is good for you. But again, also for you, because this is the last lunar crescent when this is happening, it is really appropriate to, whatever you're planning to do, not to review it yet in public. Even though Mercury is visible, and many people would say this is wonderful for new projects, media projects, but I would say yes, indeed, but prepare them strategically, practically even, but review them later on, once Mars is gone and once the first lunar crescent will be shown. All right, and now we're looking at ascendant Capricorn. For you, the conjunction of Jupiter and Venus is happening on your 12th house. With this, you will not experience this literally powerfully, but it is actually good. This will bring you joy and feeling of unexplained, if you want, happiness and good health, because they will bless your ascendant ruler Saturn. When they join Saturn, they will give him these good energies, positive energies and beauty. So this is really blessing for you. On the other hand, the sun is creating good aspect towards your ascendant, good for your plans. Mars and Mercury are on your 10th house, which can create very active environment at work career-wise. But as I told you with the other, when I'm listing the other ascendants, this time is not very, very appropriate for starting something new. Can be a lot of activities, but keep in mind not to use these energies for new beginnings. Just use the moment for some positive developments, but not new beginnings. Okay, and now we're looking at Aquarius ascendant. For you, Jupiter and Venus are meeting on your 11th house, meeting your ascendant ruler Saturn. This is brilliant, brilliant for relationship with children, for the safety of children, brilliant for your gains, for your social circle. Could be something really very nice. In the very same moment, on your 9th house, you're having Mars, Mercury, and the Moon, Mars and Mercury meeting. This can be a little bit disturbing when it comes to travel and communication, especially when you will be reviewing something or communicating. So whatever you do, even though Mercury is already visible, do your plans or your creative work, but do not review it. Wait until the first lunar crescent will be showing up. Until then, do a lot, prepare, strategically prepare, practically prepare for your work, for your communication work, or for your commercial work, or for your studies, but do not review them yet. On the other hand, the week is very good financially and very good for your children. And now we're having Pisces ascendant. For you, Jupiter and Venus are meeting on your 10th house. This is wonderful for your plans, for your career. It's really good. For relationship with parents, this is something which is very nice. Your ascendant ruler meeting with Venus on your 10th house. On the other hand, Mars and Mercury are on your 8th house, which can be interesting in relation to esoteric studies, some interesting, unexpected, and even mixed results that can come from court cases or related to the finances of your partner, for example. But your career, your plans, and also financially, you're being supported this week. So benefit, especially until now I'm making my conclusion for everyone, benefit especially until the 30th of November from the conjunction of Jupiter-Venus. And after that, you know, the energies of Jupiter are a little bit altering. They're not the same. And this is important to understand. Again, we can benefit from them, but in a very different way, more deeper and more philosophical and more intuitive and more intrinsic and more personal. So thank you for your attention. My contacts and all kinds of details information are under this video.